Hello guys, Stellblaze here, back with another Dungeons video, and today I'm going to be talking about blood rushing for the three classes, Mage, Berserker, and Archer, since nobody cares about healer and tank because they don't really blood rush usually. And if this video is helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot. Let's get right into the video. So, in case you don't know what blood rushing is, it's basically going from the start of the dungeon run all the way to blood run in a certain amount of time, or as fast as possible, so that your team can start spawning in the blood mobs faster. And that increases run speed quite a bit, and it's a very efficient way to speedrun dungeons. And maybe you're the person in the party who blood rushes usually, and you get kicked out maybe because you got like a 2-minute blood rush or a 3-minute blood rush, and it's okay. This video is going to talk about all those things and how to improve your speed for each class. Now, I do not have the setup for Berserk and Archer. I do have some streams with Berserk, so maybe you guys want to check that out for examples, but mainly I'm going to be talking about Mage here. But I'm going to go into specifics with the classes and what kind of items they should use. So first, for Archer, you mainly want to have 4 boomerangs, an ice spray wand, and a flower of truth. So what you mainly want to do for an Archer is use the boomerangs for room clear and for mini bosses, and the flower of truth is mainly there in case you run out of boomerangs or if you need to lifesteal. And the ice spray wand is just an easier way to kill all the mini bosses in the dungeon, and that's also going to speed up your run by maybe 1 or 2 seconds, but it's a worthwhile investment. And yeah, that's basically it for Archer. Next, Berserker class, you basically want to have the same setup as Archer except minus the boomerangs and ice spray wand. You basically just need a livid dagger, a flower of truth, maybe a phantom rod if you have a bit of trouble against Frozen Blaze Adventures. As a Berserk, I did have a lot of trouble with Frozen Blaze Adventures, which is why I bought myself a phantom rod, but later I did sell it to the NPC by accident. But anyways, yeah, the phantom rod, it can be very efficient against the mini bosses. The livid dagger is more efficient because of its attack speed, but if you have trouble blood rushing as a Berserk, then definitely go for the Phantom Rod. There's not much difference, and it's okay to slow down the run by maybe 1 or 2 seconds, because you're trying to get as fast as possible, but you don't want to die in the process. Dying is way worse than getting a bad time. And finally, for Archer class, your main weapons are either an Hyperion if you're really rich and can afford it, which is basically what I have, and 2 other weapons if you can't afford a Hyperion, and those weapons can be the Spirit Scepter and the Midas Staff. Now, if you can't afford a Midas Staff that's 100 mil, then you can of course choose to buy the Yeti sword. It's way cheaper, but the catacombs requirement for it is very high. So if you don't have Kata 28, then at least try to get a Kata 25 and get a Midas spoon if you can afford it. Now, for mages using a Spirit Scepter and a Midas Staff or a Yeti Sword, what you want to do with the Spirit Scepter is room clear, and the Midas Staff or Yeti Sword is used to kill the mini bosses. Now, if you have trouble killing the mini bosses with the Yeti Sword because it's very hard to aim, you can of course buy yourself an ice spray one so that you can freeze the opponent and kill them faster. It's a very good way to maximize your time, especially with the ice spray one. I recommend it for all classes, especially for Mage and Archer. And with the Hyperion, basically what you want to do is just spam your right click until all the mobs are dead, and you basically know what you're doing if you have a Hyperion. Just like spam it around. And for mini bosses, you do something a bit different. For mini bosses, all you do is just look at the ground and spam your right click until the mini boss is dead. And that is going to be it for the classes. Now, for making runs efficient, what you mainly want to do is know where each mob is and know where the mini bosses are. So what I mean by this is, for example, in the 2x2 room where there's a mini boss and 3 starred mobs, basically what happens in most runs where I see people trying to blood rush besides me, what they do is they kill the mini boss, right? But they can't find the wither key, and they're just like stalling around for maybe 10 or 20 seconds until some guy goes up there to get the secret and kills the 3-star mobs. Now, it's important to know map knowledge because it can fasten your run quite a bit. It's very important to know where each mob is that you have to kill. Now, this may be different for like hallways because it's very difficult to locate fells, which is why I suggest putting the animations on, at least for the fells particles. I don't know which animation that is, but I sometimes find it distracting to have the Hyperion animation on, like the smoke and explosion effects, so I turned them all off. Fells aren't really hard to find. As long as you just know generally where all the mobs are, you should be good to go. And lastly is survivability and damage. To maximize your damage as Archer or any Blood Rusher, you just want to get like the best reforges as possible. Like for me, I'm a mage, and mages are important glass cannons. Same with the Archer class. What you want to do while blood rushing is just to maximize your time, kill the mini bosses as fast as possible so that you can move on to the next room really quickly. It's very important to become a glass cannon. I know it's difficult to survive, especially with Archer class. Now Mage, if you have a Hyperion, good. That is your main survivability weapon. Apart from your gear should be all necrotic, apart from the chestplate, which should be loving, in case you have some survivability issues. But if you don't have any of those issues, then go ahead, choose necrotic for your chestplate, honestly. And for mages who use Spirit Scepter and a Midas Spin or a Yeti Sword, basically what you want to do is have a Orange Zombie Sword. If that's not enough, get an Ice Spray Wand. It will help you keep your distance between mobs. And if you have trouble like going in and face tanking all the mobs, then you can just long range them with Spirit Scepter. It's not the most ideal way to do frag runs, but it is definitely probably the only way you can do to survive. Now, I'm not really specific into Spirit Scepter and Midas Spoon combination because I've never tried those for frag running before. I have tried the Yeti Sword before, but it isn't that efficient. Anyways, we're gonna move on to Archer. So Archer, what you want to do, full Ancient. Necron's Head is gonna be important, but Necron's Golden Head is the best Archer helmet. But if you don't have that, then it's okay. Choose the Necron's helmet or Torrential helmet. It does basically the same thing. Or I mean, I don't see any difference between them. And for DPS, what you want to do has Overload 5 and stuff. That is important. Especially Archer and Mage, you guys are ranged attackers, so use that to your advantage and just be a glass cannon and kill everything in your room as fast as possible. Now for Berserk, it's a different situation right here, because for Berserk you have to go in close range. Even with the Flash of Truth, it does have a limit to how far it can travel. So for a Berserk class, you can go out full glass cannon mode, but I do not suggest that because I did die a lot because of Skeleton Masters as a Berserker. Now there's not really anything you can do except maybe get replace your chestplate with a tier 10 or 11 chestplate with Giant on it. It's very nice chestplate. I use that for most of my runs and it's very nice. You can also use the Necron's chestplate. It does give more HP, but just saying, if you have survivability issues, you already do enough DPS, especially with the Livid Dagger and the Tiger Pet or something, or Withered Pet. Basically what you want to do is just put Giant on your set if you have survivability issues, because Berserk, it can be tough surviving. I know it does have the Bloodlust, but the Bloodlust sometimes glitches out and lags out, or you just don't have any mobs to kill, and that is going to be your death. And yeah, just for Berserk, you gotta play a bit tanky. Like, you can go full on glass cannon mode with Berserk also. I mean, you can just get full Ancient and then just have like a very aggressive pet, like a dragon pet or something, if you can afford it. But just saying, for Berserk, I highly suggest being a bit tanky because you do not have range attacks. So yeah, that's just a little tip for Berserk, and now I'm pretty much done with explaining everything. Blood rushing is very easy. You just gotta get the hang of it and know each mob. It may be harder for people who don't have good gear to do it, but just try your best. Just practice, get used to the maps, get used to knowing what's where, and just learn the map. And if you learn the map, it shouldn't be that hard to blood rush. Anyways, it's your friendly neighborhood dungeon maniac, Double Plays, signing out. I'll see you guys in the next video. Oh my gosh! With a chest plate! With a chest plate!